What up, all my gay bitches?
Hey, what's going on out there?
Welcome back to Bitch I Ain't Scared. I'm Nate the Fool.
I'm Rob the Scholar.
I'll also extend a welcome to all the non-gay bitches and,
We love you too.
How was your weekend, Rob?
My weekend was pretty good.
Yeah.
Good weather. Got out a little bit.
Yes.
Saw a movie. Just hung out. Oh, and I played this this horror themed board game called called Mixtape Massacre. Very fun. It kind of reminds you of the 80s. It has a very 80s theme. Like the victims are kind of pulled from different 80s movies, and then of course the villains that you get to play, or the killers, are obviously icons with a little bit of changed name and origin.
Good.
And it all looks
the rights.
Yeah. But it all looks very animated, and they plan on coming out with expansion packs. Okay. So I played a few rounds of that, and it was fun.
Cool.
I liked it. I'd buy it.
I also saw that you were at Saddle Ranch. Is that where you were?
Saddle Ranch. Oh, you're talking about Flaming Saddles?
Whatever. Oh, no, yeah, Flaming Saddles, yeah. No, you were totally at Flaming Saddles because you're a homo.
Yes.
I forgot.
That's what I was like, I hope he's talking about.
A lot of people go to Saddle Ranch as well.
You're going to have to tell me what Saddle Ranch is, though.
It's up on Sunset. It's a restaurant.
Okay.
But it's really close to West Hollywood.
Oh.
It's in West Hollywood. It's just on the Sunset Strip versus being on Santa Monica.
No, I was not there.
You can ride the bull. Yes, they have a bull there, and also at City Walk there's a location.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to, get your cowboy on.
No, I was at Flaming Saddles to watch the latest episode of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they had, the drag show right afterwards. But if you noticed on my video that I posted, there was no lip singing. That was her voice.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I had to record, because not only it was, sweet transvestite from Rocky Horror Picture Show, but the bitch was singing. And I was like, I got to get this on here, because she did very well.
Well. That's right, kids. Happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride.
Kicking it off. Just to give you a little taste of my weekend. So, I caught a glimpse of someone. I'm not going to say where, because, I respect people's privacy. But I did see Angelica Morticia Houston.
You're kidding.
Nope. I almost didn't realize it, because, she's just, doing her thing, and she had on glasses. But she had that Morticia smirk.
Oh!
Forever. I'm like, oh, my God.
I am so jealous. Well, that is awesome. And you're for sure it was her.
It was definitely her.
Oh, God. Is she, super tall? I don't know. For some reason, I see her as, 6 foot or something.
She's a tall woman, but she's shorter than me. So, she's average height, something. I don't know. But it was cool just to, see. I don't ever, when I see people, I don't like, oh my God. I would never do that.
I haven't seen anybody yet that will make me do that, but I know it's in me to do it at some point. I just haven't seen that person yet.
I don't know, if Aaliyah comes back from the dead, I'm sure I'll have some sort of response.
Yeah.
Heart attack. And then after that Friday night, I went to Venice Pride, which is my very first California Pride event. I've only ever been to Fort Wayne Pride, which is my hometown in Indiana. They do what they can. Shout out to good old Fort Wayne. But it was fun. We were waiting forever. We went to see the sign lighting. The Venice sign.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess not. But it just says Venice. It's just 6 letters strung across the street.
Oh, okay.
And I think normally it's white, but for this purpose, there's 6 letters, so it was 6 different colors of the rainbow.
Makes sense.
So we were waiting at 8 o'clock. Nope.
So it was supposed to happen at 8.
And then they pushed it back to 8:30 because of the sun. And then finally they came on stage and it's like, hey, everyone's talking thank you so much. But it's we can't understand what you're saying because, I don't know, these microphones are not doing you business. So they were just up there talking, and then they're like, and now we want to honor Sally, who wrote this book, Girls Wear Pink, and other things, silly things that people say. I was like, okay, cool. But she got up there and it was like, oh, Sally, I can't hear what you're saying.
And I'm sure people were waiting there earlier than 8.
Yes. It was cool. It was like a block party. Just the whole block was, roped off.
Yeah.
But everyone had their phones in the air, and it's
when are we gonna
trying to snap? And I did. I had my phone. I was like, oh, I'll make a little story on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, never mind. They are talking forever. I'm just gonna enjoy the moment when it actually lights up.
It's funny that you mentioned that you were going to a light, sign thing, because I don't think I saw one, like you posting one. So I was like, oh, then you either missed it or gave up. Or
I was just like, no. And then Lori Petty came out on stage and like, hey, did her Lori Petty thing. I guess she lives in Venice. So, I mean, it was cool, but I was like, damn, just light the sign. So finally they did. Everyone else around me, they took videos and whatnot, but I just, once it was lit, I was like, all right, just take a picture. It's fine. I'm cool.
So was that the only thing that they did, was just light in there, like, good night, everybody? Or
no, after that, I mean, then it was just, then they continued the party.
Okay. And it was outside.
It was like from 5 to 11, I think.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So
fun.
It was
I've never
cool.
been. I would have loved to have gone.
It was their second one.
Okay. Oh, so they just started.
They just started.
Okay, well, then I don't feel too left out.
They wanted to, like, make sure, like, this is, people do Pride outside of WeHo.
Yeah.
We're more than just doing WeHo. Nothing against WeHo. I mean,
of course,
But, they just wanted to represent.
Some areas you can't really travel to WeHo all the time, especially if you have to drive down here. Where are you going to park? So, I get it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just a different atmosphere. Everyone likes to do different things. So it was fun. And also, last night, I went to Unity Reception, capital T, for our trans brothers and sisters. It was a reception at the Edison downtown, and they honored Amaya Scott. Are you familiar with her?
Not by name.
She's a beautiful, beautiful woman. I think she was very, like, internet famous because she takes pictures and she's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Now she's on Lee Daniels' Star TV show.
I didn't get a chance to watch that one, but I know what Star is.
And she's playing a trans woman.
Oh, okay, so she's not one of the girl group or whatever?
I don't think so. I don't watch the show.
Yeah, okay.
But, she was there. Got to shake her hand. She was very nice. Her and her boyfriend, they're a very attractive couple. Mm-hmm. But it was cool. I mean, and they showed a slideshow of the trans men and women who were murdered last year.
Oh, yeah,
They talked about that. So it was a really nice event. I'd like to go next year. I got drunk. It was an open bar.
The fool was acting a fool on Sunday.
I mean, they had food and they had drink, and I was like, well, because as soon as I came down the stairs, they said, "Would you like to try this bourbon honey cognac?"
Oh, so it was open bar then.
Oh, I will take this drink off the tray, absolutely. So yeah, and then when I went to the bar, I was like, "So look, I just had this thing. It had cognac," and she's like, "Oh, I know what you want." Okay.
Oh my god!
So they knew.
That's one thing when you find a new drink.
It was so good.
You're just going to have to go through the motions and just get too drunk off of it. Then you'll know your limit. Because, I mean, obviously some drinks are stronger than others. So
I mean, it was strong. It was bourbon, like bourbon-based. But anyway, so that was my LGBT-centric weekend kicking off Pride.
Very nice. And hopefully not the last. I mean, the whole month of June, I actually told myself this, too. It's like, for the month of June, I want to get out, be more around the community. I mean, so far I've just been going to the bars and clubs, but you know what? Most of my sort of interactions is usually online, to be honest. And it's like it's fun to just be out and just be around your folks. And I've done that for the past 2 weekends. And for those who know me, I don't necessarily go out as often as I used to, and I've been enjoying myself quite a bit. And I want to do more of that this month. So
good.
Yeah.
I think definitely this month is perfect for everybody, if you want to come out and support, of course, but for the LGBT community, LGBTQIA, gotta say the whole thing, it's nice to go out this month because you're around people and the energy is just so different. Everyone's happy, everyone is feeling good and positive. Pick up your free condoms, kids. Be safe.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a great month. I'm definitely planning on going to LA Pride.
Oh, you are? Okay.
I'm going to try. I work all weekend, but I am going to try to go Sunday evening-ish when it's basically done.
Yeah, they usually... Well, I mean, they do kind of stay open. There's, obviously that open, that closed, Santa Monica Boulevard. Yeah. And then there's the actual fairground, I guess. I've never done that yet because you have to pay.
I don't even know what's in there because I've never paid whatever.
My thing is that, and I may have to read about this, but usually it's just music. It's just live music.
Yeah, that's right.
And if you're, know of all the, artists, have at it. But other than that, I mean, I think there might be like booths and stuff like that, which is what I love about Pride is just those mini booths that you can kind of check out. But Pride in itself, just on those closed roads, is enough. Like, it's just wall-to-wall people. All the bars are full, so...
I like the free condoms. Also, this weekend, when I was at work for a little short shift, my coworker Anne, sister of Michael McDowell, it was just his birthday. Happy birthday, Michael McDowell. She gave me this book called Countess Dracula. She was giving away a bunch of books at work. And it's like a biography about an actress. Her name is Carol Borland, and she played Countess Dracula. So I'm going to read this book. I'm not familiar with the film, but I think they made a whole series because it's Bela Lugosi. And I think, is it like the Tears of Dracula? I haven't read the book yet, but I just...
This is Mark of the Vampire?
Mark of the Vampire, I think that's what it is.
1935.
Tears of the Vampire. I don't know what I said. But yeah, it was like, oh, it was really nice of her to think of me. And she appreciated the art that I made for her brother for his birthday. So, hi, Anne. And segue, it made me think of the movie Dracula's Daughter. I don't know if I've talked about it before, but...
Not yet.
That's one of the earliest representations of a sort of, quote, lesbian character. The evil lesbian who must die. And it features the longest kiss that never happened. I remember watching this in one of my gender classes in school. And the actress, she did not want to take the part. I think she was contracted with the film studio, and she had to do this movie, but she was very upset because she didn't want to do horror, she didn't want to be typecast. This was 1950-something, I believe. And so she was very upset about it, but it's a very iconic role. I think it did do some damage. Like, she wasn't really able to work much after that, so she was right. But, it's one of those interesting characters where she's like a lesbian, and she's like making goo-goo eyes at this woman, and they're just like in each other's face, but then they don't kiss, and it's such a strange movie. That's one of those horror characters that I always think about. There's another character that always comes to mind, which you don't like, Silence of the Lambs, so...
I'm not a huge fan to watch it more than once, but yeah, I appreciate it for what it is.
And I don't even remember his name. What is it? It's like Dakota Bill or something.
No, Buffalo Bill.
Buffalo Bill, I think that was his name.
Yeah.
And he's sort of like a trans character. He abducts these thick women so he can wear their skin suits because he's, trying to become a woman. It's just that awkward scene where he's like dancing and he tucks.
I do remember that. Well, if you haven't gotten the theme of our episode today, we are going to talk about horror movies involving gay characters, subtext of gay storylines, and just all things homo.
Yes. Normally everything we talk about is homo because, we just can't help it. But today we wanted to honor Pride Month and do our thing.
Yeah. And I'm sure that when you think of a gay horror movie, you probably only think of one of two movies that you may know about. So how are we going to stretch this out for a whole episode? Well, there's actually a lot that we can talk about on this subject. And yeah, I think that there's something to be said about how much representations in horror with gay characters, lesbian or, gay. And I don't know, I would like to see more of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to say that gay people are just super smart and we just know better not to be putting ourselves in those situations. Maybe that's why we're not in them. But I mean, I'm surprised that even nowadays, especially with remakes, that we're not seeing more gay characters embedded into the main group that gets attacked.
What were you saying? You were saying something earlier about big movie studios and the inclusion of gay characters.
Yeah, I mean, so we can come up with a lot of different scenarios and theories about why we don't see gay characters in horror movies, because they're everywhere else. They're in dramas, they're in comedies. We have our own TV shows, Ryan Murphy seems to be pushing that, line pretty big with American Horror Story. And also, I'm going to be so mad that I don't remember his name. I'm going to look it up. The creator of Teen Wolf. he has a lot of gay representation in that show as well.
Yes.
And, you know, I mean, yes, it's MTV, you know, it's not scary, but yeah, I mean, it's a supernatural show.
It's a supernatural show.
Yeah, and I think it counts, and those two
Hot
are
werewolves.
making big strides to get us into the limelight. And honestly, I'll tell you from both aspects of the shows that, you know, the stereotype, or I guess the big main thing is, if you had two guys on screen, which one is gay, you make one of them flamboyant so you know who's who, or you just have them in a relationship. However, I think that they've been handling the gay characters on here pretty well. One of them in Teen Wolf actually was an athlete, and the other, you know, two were pretty strong, and their relationships were very healthy too. There was even an interracial gay couple in this last season. So, you know, I'm surprised we're not seeing more on screen. And one theory is that, you know, producers obviously are a little bit scared to be the ones to push that out and lose, you know, some target audience. You know, if you think about it, and you know, this is no, sort of like read on, you know, women, but horror movies usually are geared towards men. And, you know, not to say that there aren't fans out, you know, women out there who don't like horror. That's not true. But when you look at it from an advertising point of view, they're usually geared towards men who, you know, want to see big titty women flashing their boobs and, you know, being all promiscuous, and then having the big, strong man taking care of them and just doing their thing. And so when you put a gay character in there, it could scare that big demographic away, so you don't see them.
Yeah. But also, I think if we look at the success of someone like Lee Daniels, he was also there last night at the Unity reception.
I saw that photo you posted, yeah.
Yes. Mr. Daniels, he's definitely been able to tell a lot of different stories and bring characters to television that haven't really been shown before. And this is all geared towards the black community, but he was able to open that door. Mm-hmm. And he himself, as a gay man, has been able to introduce characters who are on the LGBT spectrum. So I think for the same way in film, in horror, if we were going to have characters that are representative of the LGBT community, they would have to come from people who are LGBT themselves. That's the only way it's going to be done properly. So the producers now who are doing it, yeah, I'm sure they would want to do it to cash in, because they see that, oh, it's more popular, it's more palatable, people are watching it and accepting it, but I don't think that they can be trusted with it. Ryan Murphy, he's been inclusive of LGBT characters since season 1. Yeah, every single season, I think. And in that aspect, you know, he himself is a gay man, so I think for the most part, he handles the material trustworthily. It's not the right word. But he, you know, we can trust that he has good means. But then also I watched Scream Queens, and he had that trans actress who played the deaf character in the first season. Yes. And that was terrible.
You didn't like that?
No.
And then, you know,
not that I didn't like the character on screen. And it wasn't even that she was trans. She was just a girl, you know, at a sorority. But I think the way that she was wasted, I didn't appreciate that.
And then there was, you know, Nick Jonas, when, you know, he was playing sort of the closeted, but maybe he was out or not.
Didn't appreciate that either.
Yeah.
The way that certain subject material is handled is, I guess it's more for laughs, and that show wasn't to be taken seriously, and it was canceled. But in American Horror Story, I think he treats it with more dignity. Yeah. So that would be the same thing that would happen in film, because when they do include gay characters, they treat them as any other minority character. They kill them very quickly. And that's why they give them these markers of, oh, he's the flamboyant gay character, so we know he's gay. Oh, it's the black character, he's being loud, we'll kill them, because we've already established their characters. You know. So it would have to be something that a gay man, woman, a trans woman, same thing, like people of color, they have to tell these stories. You can't leave it to people who don't really have anything to do with the community.
So back to Teen Wolf. Just want to point out, so the creator of the show is Jeff Davis. I think he's a remarkable writer. And,
is he gay?
Yes, he is gay as well. And
after I just talked on my shit.
And I just want to, congratulate him on a good, successful show, and also having great gay characters for teens to look up to, and to show that, there are definitely, gays in high school going through the same problems that everybody else is, and, with a nice little supernatural twist to it. And I hope to see more work from him after this project is over. So
nice.
Yeah.
Good and for even on the Scream series, they have I don't know, says she's bi, so she's the questioning character. So they definitely have taken a leap, and they're putting the representation on there because it's with the times. And I think the younger generation now are much more open, and they're like, fuck that. This is who we are, and you're going to have to deal with it. And the old heads just got to have a seat.
So if you had your way of doing things, like what kind of gay or LGBT character would you like to see in horror movies?
Well, and the thing for me about any LGBT character, it's very difficult for me to watch things sometimes because they are stereotypical. And then I have to pull back and say, you know what, that's not a stereotype. That's a real person. Mm-hmm. Just because I think someone is flamboyant over the top does not mean that that's not a real person. That is how someone expresses themselves. It's not an act. When someone says, oh, why are they so gay? And it's like, well, they're no more gay than I am. It's just how they are.
Yeah.
So when I see representations in film and television, whatever the case may be, it's a fine line between them being a stereotype and not being a stereotype. It depends on how it is executed and who's executing it. Now, when I watch things, I guess I'm looking for myself, or I'm looking for something that is like myself, and I haven't really seen it yet. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to give a really weird example. This isn't a horror film, but when I watched Moonlight, that story really touched me emotionally. That is not my story at all. Visually, obviously, that is not my story. But it was just a story that had never been told before. Not in that way. Not about this person. And I think to have a gay inclusive horror film, I would love to see characters like that, who are fully developed, who are not what you would expect. Because, and although we have another issue with masculinity in the gay community, and it's a problem, there just has to be a very careful handling of these characters to actually make them real people. Don't just, throw someone on there and, I don't know, give them blonde highlights and a tight shirt and, girl, that's annoying. Yeah. Unless it's actually authentic. It's really hard. It's so hard. I mean, it's like, I'm not even sure I know how to do it. I have to, really think about what the best thing is, because and it also the opportunity to have multiple characters in a film, like Hellbent, for example, which I actually like Hellbent. It's one of those few movies that is completely gay. Mm-hmm. All of the major characters are gay, and I think for the most part they're all very masculine for the most part. Yeah, but it definitely has this weird undertone of masculinity, and I'll get to that in a minute. Mm-hmm. But when you have multiple characters, you have the opportunity to represent different people. A broad, yeah. So I think in Hellbent, they didn't quite do that. They were all fairly masculine. They were all very attractive, except for the one little nerdy guy who just wanted a date. Poor guy. I remember him. So sad. But that's something that made me think about Hellbent as well. What I really liked about it, he was hunting these men because they were men. And, it's like, it wasn't, I didn't take it as, oh, he hated gay men. He just had some sort of weird psychological fix on the masculine figure. Mm-hmm. And he needed to, remove their head. Because you would notice he completely blew off homeboy that was dressed like a woman. And normally he was he was their supermodel friend who had this amazing body and he was gorgeous. And he couldn't get any attention from this guy. And he really didn't need it. But once he took off the wig and the dress, he was like, oh, you're exactly what I'm looking for. And then he chopped off his head. So it was just a very interesting motive that the killer had in that movie. maybe it was like commentary on cutting off the masculinity within the gay community because it's become so toxic.
I'll take that one. Yeah, that's a good reason right there. So something that I was thinking about earlier this week, with the and based on your answer, just kind of pushes my sort of thought process, is that you want to have a gay character on who that you see yourself in, and not necessarily do we get an opportunity to see people that are kind of like us, and a big part of that is because the gay character that is in these films are token gay characters. Yes. And the thing is that when you have a token person representing either a minority or or sexual orientation, you only get one shot to put a character to represent a bunch of people. Now, obviously, you wouldn't take that so seriously and know that there are more types of gay people and types of people of color out there, but you still can't help it. This movie has only given this one type of person to represent all. Exactly. And until people start noticing that there are more types of gays out there, this is all that we're going to get. So having more than one would definitely benefit to represent more, and I don't know, just the exposure I think would be good too, because you look at two guys, how do you know which one is the gay one? And usually that's obviously the difference is who we, fall in love with. And, if that person needs to be in a relationship, that's fine. If it's mannerisms, that's fine. He can also just say it in some way. I mean, it's a part of life. Jocks out there always look at a woman and just be like, oh, I'm going to do her when we get to that cabin. Obviously, he's straight now. I mean, it's not that hard. Or he's heavily closeted. Yeah, but it's not that hard. It really isn't. But I think that's sort of the downfall of why there isn't many out there. But you wonder what's going to get, the gay community to actually go to these films as well. I mean, is it because of the lack of gay characters is why we don't like to go? I mean, Hellbent wasn't a success. Yes, it's very known. But I mean, is it very known? I mean, not many people, pray. I mean, after that, did we see another one? And I think if the money paid off, we would have seen more, but nobody went to it. And you got to wonder why that is.
Well, it wasn't even made on a large scale. It wasn't made by a studio, and the studios don't invest unless they think they're going to make money. Now, another component is there are a lot of people who don't know gay people, or they don't know black people. They only know people who look like themselves. And that's a problem. Because then you see these characters on TV and you take it as fact. This is real. This is how people are. This is how that black person is. So when I see them on TV, or when I see them on the street, correct, that's how they're going to be. When I see this gay person, I know that they're obsessed with sex. They are like a girl. All of these things that are going to be wrapped up in this one character. And that's the problem, because people who are not gay, they don't know what the fuck to do with a character that is not like them. Most of the people who are in power, who are at the top, who are making these decisions, they are white, straight, cisgender men. So they don't know what to do with people who don't look like them or are the same as them. And they just become token characters, all of them. Yeah, yeah. It's also funny too to look at it in a different way as well. I mean, I wouldn't put this in the same category, but obviously, gays are stereotyped in film, and but when you look at it from a horror perspective, just look at Cabin in the Woods, how it was crucial for them to have specific types of teens to go to this cabin. Yeah, and so we may be stereotyped for being, feminine, sex hungry and all that stuff, but you've got the jock who is the blonde, blue-eyed dummy who can only throw a football. I mean, yeah, it's not as a strong, stereotype that could have a negative impact, but it is a stereotype for one. Women obviously are, looked at as either completely, pure and virgin, or you're a whore. It's never like a very
what's the word I'm thinking of? A sex positive woman who just enjoys sex and is responsible with it. And, you know, so, and then you've got the nerd and all that stuff. So, I mean, straight people sometimes come with their stereotypes as well. Mm-hmm. But those are normal. And they've been exposed quite a bit for us to be used to these archetypes. Yeah. And I just think that if there's just more exposure, we'll get used to the type of gay men, no matter the variety that we have, to be on film. And especially for horror, I think that's the one genre that I'm really surprised that we haven't conquered yet. Because I see horror as that misunderstood, like, trying to, you know, fit in sort of genre.
Well, another thing about Cabin in the Woods, the brilliant part about it, is that they poke fun at the stereotypes. Because they have had so many opportunities to fuck it up and to show these characters as very two-dimensional. And that's why they poke fun at it. It's like, no, homegirl is a doctorate student. She's trying to be a doctor. So why is she suddenly stupid? And, you know, it's like, and he's smart too. Why is he just suddenly
academic
like trying
scholarship?
Yeah, they were all very intelligent. And suddenly it was like, yes, they were all acting against their characters, except for the one who, you know, his pot just kept him from cooperating. But they poke fun at it. Gay characters have not had enough opportunities to actually be visible for them to, like, poke fun at it. And they could, but a lot of people might not get it. I don't know. They haven't seen enough gay characters. Yeah. There's another movie, a sci-fi original called Sabretooth. I think it came out in like 2002. I remember this from when I was younger. The actor, I can't remember his name, but he provided the voice of Fievel in An American Tale. And that was his first acting job as a little boy. His very last acting job was Sabretooth. And he was, I don't know, 20. And I believe he was a gay character, and he was the first to go.
Aw.
Yep, he was the first to go. That's what they do.
What was his name in the movie?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, okay, because I was going to look him up.
I saw it one time. I mean, it was a bad movie about a saber-tooth that was brought back to life, just like Jurassic Park, you know, and then it went around killing people. What'd you think was going to happen? Yeah.
So with all of our talk about, you know, the non-existence of gay characters, that does not mean that there weren't any in horror movies. There's been a lot of examples, whether they had a little short cameo or they were just revealed in some clever way right at the end, or, you know, I think you know what I'm talking about.
Well, something else just popped in my head. So you remember in Fright Night?
Yes.
What's his name? Is it Gary Duran? I don't know, but the vampire, the main vampire, Chris Sarandon.
Oh, Chris Sarandon, yeah.
So
Jerry Dandridge, I think his name was. Yes, Jerry Dandridge,
What did I say? Gary Duran. It sounded the same. But I read something recently that people theorized that his guardian was also like his lover.
No. I thought this too, and yeah. So that's where I was going with this. It's like, okay. There's you know a ton of represented gay characters that are completely obvious, and then there are some that are, you know, sort of hinting at the possibility. But I thought that very same thing. That movie is actually one of those horror films that has this sort of gay sort of.
I mean, he definitely goes for the girl, but it's like, so he's just, you know, he likes to dip his hands everywhere.
Yeah, but you know what's seen, though, like when they sort of have the upper hand and you've got Vincent trying to go over there figuring out what's going on, and then the guardian comes over and he puts his arms on his shoulders, and they just got this bromance that's so, like, tight, and I completely thought that they were hooking up. I mean, here's the thing. Jerry Dandridge... Yeah, he may have been looking for his long-lost lover, but, I mean, all the other women that he brought back, did he actually have sex with them? No.
No, I think he just ate them.
He just ate them, and it was just easy enough to get those women back to his place. Then you've got Charlie, who can't seal the deal with his girlfriend, who probably was questioning herself in the movie as well. And then you also have Peter Vincent, who was the most flamboyant vampire killer I've ever seen on film.
Stereotype.
Exactly. But, I mean, the movie obviously had a whole bunch of sort of, like, gay-themed, like, storytelling. And the movie still is a cult classic to this day.
That's
funny. So I think it was pretty liked, but you just wonder if it's because they didn't flat out just say, "Oh, bam, these guys are gay." Did that keep the audience, interested and make these characters still likable?
Well, I think with vampire movies also, it tends to go that route with any of them. I mean, like the Vampire Chronicles, Anne Rice, I mean, if you read the books, they're very homoerotic. Mm-hmm. She's not playing. And with the movies, I mean, it's still very like, it's like they're in each other's faces. They're constantly like, are they going to fuck? Well, no, they can't fuck because it doesn't work like that anymore. They're dead. But even the Lost Boys, it's like only boys, and then you got the one side chick, but it's like only a boy group, really? You didn't want no other girls up in here? So you see a lot of that.
Yeah, with the Lost Boys, it's funny because they throw this girl in to like make sure that these guys are straight, but I mean the whole movie is basically focused on this sexual tension between Michael and David. And like clearly the movie is just how close are these guys going to get and the bond, and he's like, live with us and be young forever, and the girl is just like, okay. And then the little brother, like, I just read something. Crap, I forget which website it was, but apparently he has a poster of Rob Lowe on his wall, like on his closet door or something.
That's
if that
funny.
wasn't suggestive, I don't know what was.
That's funny. I don't remember that.
But do you happen to remember any like actual gay characters in horror? Is there any that come to mind that you want to highlight or showcase?
Like actual gay characters?
Yeah.
I'm sure there are, but there's nothing that really comes to mind. I mean, we talked about Angela from Sleepaway Camp, who's like a trans character because she's being forced to dress like a girl.
Yeah.
So it's really she's a boy and she's trying to deal with her emotional status. She doesn't know what she's supposed to do. There's another character. I mean, it's always sort of just hinted at. Mm-hmm. Unless they're like one of the first to go. If it's like some sort of slasher film, they don't last long. They have no character development. Rebecca was another 1950 movie, 1950s, where she was like the housekeeper, and she was sort of obsessed with this girl, and she's always talking about her and like sniffing her dress. And at the end of the movie, she's in the house as it's burning down, and she's just standing there like unbothered. She was the evil lesbian character and she had to go. I'm really trying to think of a specific character.
There's actually a couple that came to mind
besides Freddy 2.
Yes, besides Freddy 2, even though that was also hinted as well. Well,
I mean, that one wasn't even hinted. They were like...
there was the gym teacher. I mean,
he was in leather.
Yeah,
that movie, they weren't trying to like...
Yeah.
elbow to the rib. No.
So let me see if you remember some of these that I remember. So you remember Cursed?
Oh,
Christina Ricci.
Yes, him. That's right.
Yeah. So the guy, I think it was. Don't ask me to say his name because I always butcher his name.
Ventimiglia.
Thank you.
You can
so
see
he was
him on This Is Us. Watch the first episode because his ass is out.
Yes, so fine, so fine. Love that show. Anyways, he was obviously the bully who picked on poor little Jesse Eisenberg, and then later comes out, I've only been picking on you because I'm gay and I'm just realizing it, and that was really sweet.
PSA moment, kids, it's not cute to hit someone that you're attracted to. If you want to take them out on a date, just fucking take them out on a date. This isn't 1950. You don't pull girls' hair.
We are not in elementary school. We do not pull hair like straight people.
Boys will be boys. No, no, don't do that shit.
Do you remember Catherine Zeta-Jones in The Haunting?
Yes, that's right. Yes. She was bi.
And she was hitting on everyone. She had on her fur boots, just confident as shit. Loved her character. Not so much the movie, but we will get into that on a different episode. Yeah, she was funny. And then, let's see. Oh, okay. So did you ever watch Paranorman? So this is an animated...
Yes, that was amazing.
Animated ghost sort of zombie movie. So, love. So this was the same creator as Coraline, right? And I'm sorry, like those two movies are going to go up as one of the classic films ever in animation.
Yeah.
The stories, the modern take of everything, and just that whole like, ha, gotcha, bitch. We had a gay character in this show the whole time. And who was it? The biggest, manliest jock in the whole movie.
He was really stupid, but he was really sweet.
Yeah. So there's this babysitter, or was it his sister?
It was his sister.
It was his sister who was
totally,
trying to like
thirsty.
Yeah, she was so thirsty for this guy and just hitting on him the whole time. And then she finally had the courage to ask him out. And then he responds, "Oh my God, my boyfriend would love to go to this. We should totally go together." And I was like, "What?"
Thanks, Kathy. My boyfriend's a total chick flick movie freak.
I honestly was just in shock. Like, it took me a while to really just, like, did I just hear what I thought I heard? And the audience was kind of silent. Like, they didn't know how to react. There was some laughter, but afterwards, I was just like, "You go, girl."
Yeah, that was a big moment that has never happened.
And I don't think there was any backlash from it either. I think people were pretty okay with it. I mean,
I'm sure there was some sort of backlash. People were upset that Disney had a, quote, gay character this year. So, in an animated film, oh, how dare you expose our children to your evil ways. But no, it was awesome.
Yeah. No, I like that. And then there are some movies out there that I think had them, but I don't remember them. I may have to, rewatch them. There was... Psycho Beach Party.
Never seen
Yeah,
that.
now I heard it was funny, but it was sort of like a mocking movie of those beach movies in the 60s, but then also kind of mocked
a slasher.
Yeah, they had a slasher thing going on. And then did you see Final Girls?
No, I still haven't seen it.
You need to watch Final Girls. So good. So it all takes place on a campsite, sort of Friday the 13th-esque. And one of the counselors was this queenie little black, gay boy, had the one earring and the short shorts, and he was just lovable. I loved him. And, I think for that, the purpose of that movie, it was a perfect way to put one in there because it was all based on this pseudo horror movie that they all get stuck in. Literally, like Last Action Hero style.
Oh,
and
interesting.
So the stereotypes of all the characters were put in there, but they had this, gay black character in there, which you never see.
Yeah.
So I was pretty proud of that. Final Girls, go see it. It's amazing.
Oh, I'm going to watch that one.
Yeah.
Next on my list. Another one that comes to mind, I think it was like, this is a terrible example, but Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 3.
Fair enough.
With Renee Zellweger.
God.
Didn't they? I mean, because I remember the poster, like, in full-on dress and makeup, so there was definitely some sort of, like, identity issues going on. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily gay or transgender, but, when you're taking off somebody's skin and you're wearing it, you got some issues.
Yeah.
That's the one I could think of.
And then we talked about this earlier, High Tension.
Oh, yes, and I haven't seen it, but I was just reading that it's like they had a gay character, but then at the end, people felt like they were like, "Oh, just kidding." Yeah.
It depends on your perception of how you analyze the ending. Without giving anything away, there is a way that they kind of take that away from us that she may not be lesbian, but we'll let you guys decide on that. There was this movie on Netflix that I watched I don't know if it was last year, but it was a while ago. It's called Contracted. Have you ever heard of this one?
Title sounds familiar.
So it's sort of like a virus movie. It deals with the slow progression of somebody being infected with something.
Okay.
And it deals with this girl who went to this party and she got super drunk and she was raped by this stranger who just happened to be at the party. But the thing about this particular rapist was that he's a necrophiliac. So who also worked at a morgue. No. So he would do his business before leaving work, and then he went to this party and wrap up people because that's basically how it gets transmitted. So there's this theory about, obviously if you sleep with a guy who's been fucking, dead bodies all day, you're gonna get something, and then you basically just watch her progression as she changes into something. Hint, hint. But
that sounds interesting.
Her character was gay because through this whole dramatic transformation she was going through, she was dealing with, girlfriend problems. And her girlfriend at the time, I think she was bi maybe, but she wasn't really sure she wanted to date her anymore and all this stuff. So, there's some representation out there. It just sucks that we don't have like an all-inclusive, gay cast out there.
And it's not mainstream. It would, I think everyone ultimately feels like, well, if we can get a theatrical release, then it's the real deal. We've made it. But now with Netflix making all of these things, although they just canceled Sense8, don't know what that's about, they still come out with a lot of quality things, and it's very inclusive of different characters from all different places and walks of life. So who knows? Maybe the next thing they'll do is a horror movie with gay characters and trans characters, and they'll actually be legitimate 3-dimensional people, and we'll see.
Okay, well, this conversation could definitely go on for a long time, and I actually had a lot of fun on this episode, so I'm sure we'll definitely revisit this because there's a ton of movies that I did not get to bring up.
Real quick, I just wanted to say, okay, so I almost forgot that my good friend Matthew Jennings is going to be in a play for the Hollywood Fringe Festival. It's called The Rise and Fall of Dracula. So if you look up the Hollywood Fringe Festival, and I'll put a link with the podcast when we release it, but you can go see this on the 15th and the 18th and the 24th of this month.
And where is it at?
I'm so terrible at advertising. So I will definitely put a link with all the information, attach it to the podcast.
Sounds good.
I'll post it on our Facebook and all of that. But go see Matt. He's hot, and I'm sure he's a great actor. Who cares? No, I'm just kidding. But yes, definitely go support this. I think it'll be interesting, and maybe you'll get to see some vampires get slayed. Yeah,
very nice. Well, yeah, and I'll definitely look into that too and see if that's something fun to go to. So, of course, what do we do every week? We close out our show with another Bitch Really.
Bitch Really.
I got one that comes from one of our beloved gay-themed horror films. Yay! So we didn't really get to talk about the movie in itself, but I want to pick a scene out of Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge.
Oh, God.
And if you guys don't know, obviously Freddy has been unleashed out into the real world, not being brought out from a dream, but from our main character, literally. The scene is that they're all at this party. It's close to the third act, and Freddy just pops out of, the lead Jesse's body and starts hacking up people left and right. He goes out into this crowd full of teens, and, all this stuff is happening, and people are just getting slashed up. Everybody's trying to get out, but, Freddy's locked all the, exits, and nobody can get away. So let me just say that if you see a man who is burnt to a crisp with a glove that has knives on the ends of it, he's already killed probably 4 or 5 people in this scene. In the face. Like, okay, calm me, just don't hit the face. He clearly has no remorse, morals going on in his head. But this bitch, there was a man who decided that he could talk him down. He, went to the forefront in front of everybody. Nobody else is backing him up because they were smart. But this guy seriously tried to talk Freddy down. He's like, it's cool, man. Everything's gonna be okay. And then he approaches him as if he needed a hug. And Freddy was just like, bitch, who the fuck are you? And just like threw him across a bench or something. And like, I don't know if he died, but I was just like, dude, bitch, really? Did you really think you were gonna talk a man who's already killed 5 people in front of everyone? Face is burned to a crisp. He's got this fedora on as a pimp. And you think you can talk him down? Bitch, really?
Sounds terrible.
It's horrible. I cannot believe this man. Now, I understand, if you want to be the hero, make sure you have the skills to do it. But this was not the right time to be one. Funny enough, he didn't kill anybody else after that. He just walked away and, took off.
Well, maybe the talk worked then.
But yes, I do not approve of this move at all. It was just a dumb way to die, and sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. Well, thank you, boys and girls. We'll continue to be gay after this, but hopefully you learned some things, and maybe you'll go check out some gay cinema.
And if there's any, gay-themed movies out there or gay characters that we did not mention tonight, definitely let us know. Bring it up. We'll bring it up on our next episode where we talk about this kind of subject. And we love to hear what we missed or actually what we need to see. I'm sure there's tons of gay films out there that we don't know about. So let us know.
Let us know. Follow us as usual. Subscribe. And we'll catch you next time.
Thank you so much for listening, guys.
On Bitch I Ain't Scared.